risk. My next source spent 6 years as an intelligence officer in the Navy Reserves and a 6-month deployment in Afghanistan. Former Biden Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg joins me now, and it's great to have you here, sir. What was your reaction to this breach of extremely sensitive defense information?
It was shocking. And I got to say, all the things that I've seen happen in the last few weeks, it's taken a lot to feel genuinely shocked. But this is genuinely shocking. We're talking about incredibly sensitive, highly classified information that they didn't just discuss on an unclassified system. They sent war plans to the wrong guy. Now, they're lucky, and we're lucky, that that wrong guy was a responsible, patriotic, ethical journalist who just had on this program who knew not to publish anything that could put people's lives in danger. But I got two questions on my mind. One, what if this had, in fact, gone to somebody else? I mean, somebody who could plausibly be in some of these people's cell phones. I don't know, the Chinese ambassador or Russian negotiator. And the other question on my mind is, how many other times has something like this happened? This is the one that we know about, but how many other times could they have screwed up like this in a way that puts American troops and families in harm's way?
Yeah, is your concern that if they were texting about this and had this group chat, that maybe there are other encrypted chats about this using Signal, an app that anyone can download, that anyone can use if they're inadvertently added to it, like this was?
Yeah. The whole point of classified information systems is to keep classified information on them. And by the way, I don't know everything about how Pete Hegseth's computers work, but I know this. In my experience, both in the cabinet and as an intelligence officer, you would have to go out of your way to take classified information and move it into an unclassified system. I don't know if a lot of folks understand how this works, but it's not like there's a computer where you might get an unclassified email and a classified email in the same inbox. They're not even the same computers. By design, it is very difficult for information to move from one system to the other unless somebody goes out of their way to do that. And, I don't want to speculate on how the FBI will respond to this or how Congress will respond to this, but I know that it was drilled into us back when I was an intelligence officer that if you ever took top secret information, moved it over to an unclassified system and disclosed it, that would be a crime. I mean, I can't tell you how much this was drilled into us when I was in the military. So much so that I would have bad dreams when I was a junior officer about accidentally maybe bringing in my cell phone into a classified area where you're supposed to physically check in your cell phone and not even bring it into that space so that if there's some listening device, that information couldn't possibly get out. And by the way, I've got to zoom out and make sure everybody understands why this information is classified. It's not just classified because it's interesting or because it's special. By definition, when something is highly classified, it is highly classified because if it got into the wrong hands, it could harm national security or get American troops killed.
Yeah, well, and just in terms of how this is typically handled and the fact that it was in this group chat that obviously he was in and no one noticed he was in, you said maybe FBI investigations, congressional investigations. Do you think that federal laws were broken here, whether that be the Federal Records Act, given everyone knows Signal is set to delete? And as he reported, this was set to delete, meaning there is no record of this conversation after it expires after a while. Or do you believe this violated the Espionage Act?
I would have very real concerns about violations of both of those laws. And remember, some of these same people suggested that others should go to jail in the past for far less. Now, this will be a test of integrity for the FBI, which is ordinarily responsible for counterintelligence investigations and investigating the mishandling of classified information. It's also a huge test for Congress. It's a test for congressional Republicans who, if they have any integrity, know that this is a serious matter. Now, we've already seen a lot of them rushing to make excuses for this, but this is incredibly serious stuff.
President Trump, as you saw earlier, was saying he wasn't aware of this report. We're since told he's been briefed on it, but he reposted something that Elon Musk wrote earlier, kind of mocking all of this by making fun of The Atlantic. He wrote, "Best place to hide a dead body is page 2 of The Atlantic magazine because no one ever goes there." Trump reposted that earlier. Do you see that as making light of what has happened here?
Yeah, because this is all a game to them. Nobody in Donald Trump's family is on a ship in the Mediterranean. Nobody in Elon Musk's family is at risk from the kinds of economic or security harms that are going on here. They think all of this is a joke or a game because these are incredibly rich, powerful men who, frankly, don't have to worry about the kinds of things most Americans do. And look, this is part of a bigger pattern, right? The sloppiness and the incompetence, whether it's firing the people who were in charge of keeping our nuclear weapons safe, apparently by accident, and then scrambling to hire them back on, whether it's sending an email to try to buy out air traffic controllers in the middle of an air traffic control shortage, and then scrambling after a plane crash to say, oh, that never applied to them, whether it's that Doge site, their so-called wall of receipts, thinking that they were proving that they saved the taxpayer $8 billion with a B, not realizing that the contract they were talking about was $8 million with an M, which means they were off by 100,000%. And now this incredibly grave and serious matter of taking classified information about American battle plans involving American troops and randomly sending those battle plans to the wrong guy. If they don't understand the seriousness of that, then they don't understand how their jobs affect the lives of ordinary American people. And as an American, having the most powerful people in your country not take their responsibilities seriously can be lethal. Every day I was in Afghanistan, I knew that I could die because of an intelligence failure, that if certain information about what I was doing got into the wrong hands, that could cost me my life. But I also knew that everybody in my chain of command, up and down, from the gunny sergeant sitting next to me in a vehicle, to the colonel, to the then Secretary of Defense and President of the United States, took my security and the security of all of our troops seriously, took the responsibility, the life and death responsibility they had seriously, and would keep me safe.
Do you think someone should be fired over this?
Absolutely. I mean, if I made a mistake like this as a lieutenant, I would be probably not just fired, but probably indicted and tried and maybe in prison. And the idea that, remember, these guys love talking about merit, right? We hear a lot about this alleged principle that they're hiring people on merit. I think, there's some questions there. I mean, our current Secretary of Defense hadn't shown a lot of evidence of, running a large organization, or let alone running a large organization well. And he got put in charge of the largest organization in the United States of America and the most important organization in the world, which is the U.S. Department of Defense. And if there's not accountability for a screw up like this, especially from a president who used to fire people every day on television for sport, what are we even doing here?
Pete Buttigieg, thank you for joining and thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Up next, our insiders are here, what they're hearing from the White House tonight on the fallout.
Still have moderate to severe ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease symptoms after taking a medication like Humira or Remicade?